Yo, what's up, gamers? Aaron Shack here with a very special gear review for you guys. Gear review. I have some stuff here for the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch 2 that I want to share with you. And first, I just want to kind of show you the gear that I'm using at this time. So don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel. I provide a lot of value here. So what I'm using right now was the easiest case I could find for my Nintendo Switch 2. It has a Mario zipper on it. It's a little Mario Kart World case. And I just want to show you what it's like. It's got an instruction manual and a Nintendo Switch 2 cleaning cloth. On the inside, it has this really soft cloth insert, which allows you to fold it up like that so that you can use it as sort of a stand, which is served me really well. So there I've got my Nintendo Switch 2. And then on the inside it has some foam inserts that you can put on the ends if you want to make it softer. And then of course I've got my little grips there for like mouse pad mode or for, you know, playing motion control games where you don't want that stuff to get away from you. There's enough space here to fit a game case, but like most of mine are either too wide or too thick or too long, and I just have too many Switch 1 and Switch 2 games at this point for that to be a useful feature. But this is really cool that you can just take this and fold it up. It becomes incredibly useful, and it's branded, so if you're a big Mario Kart World fan, that'll suit you well. So I'm going to set my Switch 2 aside for just a moment. Now, one of the cases I got this at GameStop for a while. I've had for a while, and you can kind of just flip through. And then it's also got a little SD card slot case, which I think I might have put somewhere else. And then I got this case online, which sort of opens a bit like a wallet, and it's got some games in there. Those are some of my more recent games when I realized that my collection was growing a lot. Now, I've done reviews of these controllers on the channel, but I just wanted to share them with you because technically they're all Nintendo Switch controllers and they have firmware updates, or, you know, if you just keep them updated, they will work on the Switch 2. So one that I've done a review on is the Gulikit King Kong Pro 2. This has Nintendo Switch, Windows, Android, all sorts of support there, USB-C. You can sync up to 4 of these, of course, and it just charges. It comes with a plastic case that you can put it in, and Gulikit uses Hall effect joysticks, so you're never going to have stick drift. This Hori controller is more in line with your typical Nintendo Switch, you know, Pro controller, or just standard controller, what have you. Comes with a short charge cable, not really all that helpful. And of course, these come in a variety of colors and designs of Mario characters. Now, another one that I've done a review for on the channel is the 8BitDo wireless ultimate Bluetooth controller. These are really great. They're relatively small and form-fitting. They have paddles on the back. They come with a little charging dock that you can rest it on. These are really good controllers. Once again, Hall effect joysticks, so you're not going to worry about stick drift. And once again, you can sync these to your phone since it's Bluetooth, and you got USB-C ports on the top. The other one I want to show you is the Black Myth Wukong one, which I did an opening of and unboxing of on the channel. The only real difference is the design. So if you're a big fan of Black Myth Wukong, this controller is definitely the vibe. So I said other than controllers, which provide a lot of value to you, this one here is a PlayStation controller. This is the Nacon Revolution Pro 5. It's Hall effect joysticks. So once again, I burned through 2 PS5 controllers within the first year or so of owning a PS5, and they immediately had stick drift, so I wasn't a big fan of the DualSense controllers. Now, what I have here is really great for Nintendo Switch. So this case I got at GameStop, and it's a very tall case, and that's because it has a whole bunch of features here. you can unzip the top, and it's got like a little storage space up here where you can zip in. You can have cables, you can have styluses or cases, and then once again, you've got game cart key slots there. You got the Switch, which has these little elastic bands that hold it down. So that's actually really nice. There's nothing really special here other than the ribbon, which, of course, when you put your Switch in there, and I got a bubble on my screen protector, you just pull that up, and that's a quick way to get your Switch out without having to fumble with the edges and scratch things up or anything. Now, what's cool about this top half, once again, I got it at GameStop. I believe it was like $30 or $40. It has Velcro on the top part here, so you can separate this and make it just, hey, I just want to take the system out. I want a small case. I'm not carrying everything. Whereas the inside here has room for your dock, has room for your cables. It's got room for controllers. I've been keeping the Nintendo Switch NES controllers in here. I usually like to carry those so I can play various games. And of course it has, your standard carry handle for the Switch itself. And then of course it has a shoulder strap here in case you want to take it on the go with you. So you can carry it however you want. And this one came in navy, and it was pretty handy. Pretty good price, really good for people that are still using the standard Nintendo Switch, which I imagine is a lot of us. Not a lot of people have, migrated over until there's more games to play or until there's various sales. Now, the next thing I want to review is the Nintendo Switch wired earbuds. I picked those up today. Those are $24.99. I also got the Logitech F310 gamepad. If you don't know about this, this was the one that was in the submarine. And also, this has been a controller that has been around since Windows Vista. It works with Windows 7. It works with Windows 8. So this is like your old school, early 2000s. All of us PC gamers had these. They're super reliable. They're really good form-fitting. And, if it's good enough to put it in a submarine that implodes, it's good enough for me. I don't know why they chose this as their preferred choice over like a steering wheel or a throttle or literally anything else, because what if what if you didn't bring the charger? What if the battery's not good? All sorts of things could go wrong. But this controller for most people is going to be more of a meme, but I still think it's a valuable controller. And I used to have one of these, and I probably have it buried somewhere, but I was like, this is one that's like brand new. And you can never have too many of these, because there will be a lot of times where you want to go back and play like an old Xbox 360 game or something on your PC, and then you realize that it doesn't support these modern controllers. The last big thing is this. I've been looking for the perfect Nintendo Switch 2 case, and since I showed you guys the Switch 1 case just a moment ago, you kind of have an idea of what my needs are. I want to be able to carry the dock. I want to be able to carry all my charging cables and potentially a controller, at least one. And so, some of these other things are not going to cut it if it's just carrying the console, because a lot of times you are going to want to grab your cables and take those with you. So this is the Game Traveler Deluxe System case. And I believe this is going for $40 online. I picked up mine at a local Best Buy. It looks super cool. And check that out. Fits everything perfectly. And rock hard storage case here. So should be really handy. And, given that, Switch 2s are not exactly cheap, you don't want to have it in some dinky little case that's going to fall apart or tear up. I've had the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild case for my original Switch, and the leather, or the fake leather, I should say, started like stripping off after a couple years, and it really wasn't anything. It wasn't like I was like throwing it around and tearing it up and things. It was just sort of gradually falling apart on its own without any additional wear or tear that you might expect. But yeah, this case looks super awesome, and it's pretty tall. It's got some depth to it. And like I said earlier, the Gulikit King Kong Pro 2, I've got a review of that. Link is in the description down below. And then, of course, for the 8BitDo wireless ultimate Bluetooth controller, and the Black Myth Wukong one, of course, just a different color variant. That is also in the link down below. So yeah, this opens up. Let's see what we got here. Ooh, we got a little bag here. Oh, and it's got a little game case in there. And it's got, kind of hard to see, but it has its own little slot to put your key cards there, and then maybe you could like slip a Joy-Con or some earbuds or something like that in there. This is really interesting. Okay. And then this other one here, you know, same thing. Looks like it has a red sort of translucent key cart thing. So that's super cool. So we got 2 of those. Uh-oh. Not exactly sure how we did that. Oh, I hit the keyboard. My bad. All right. It also has the Nintendo Switch 2 cleaning rag once again. That's pretty handy. And that's got an indentation. Let's see which controllers this can fit. Okay, yeah. 8BitDo is fitting really snugly. King Kong Pro 2 that's a tight fit. This one's a little wider. I think if I'm carrying that one, I'm going to put it in its own case anyway. And I think, yeah, this one's going to be too wide. But I think the 8BitDo controllers will do really well in that slot. Okay, let me actually grab the dock. Let's give this a proper test. So we have a couple options in like how we can store this. You know, we can do like in the picture. Pull this back. Okay. And, you know, you can take your Switch 2 and you can slot it in the front there with the Joy-Cons in. Or we can go like Joy-Cons out and you can put the Joy-Cons here on the side. Or if you have like multiple sets of Joy-Cons, you know, maybe you got some spares. So it looks like we do have options there. And I want to see what some of the things that they show here. Okay, so they show you actually using these little mesh bags here for the HDMI cable and the charger. So yeah, we'll just imagine that we got those. I imagine those are quite big enough. And so you put those in there. We'll take one of our 8BitDo controllers, put it in there. Awesome. Okay. And then let me grab one more thing. All right, so we got the dock here. So Nintendo Switch 2 dock. Perfect snug fit there. Nothing's too tall. I mean, you could even like put your earbuds in there. Which actually, now that we talk about that, I'm going to go ahead and open these. So the reason why, you know, I opted for these is I have these JBLs, and these are really great, and I got them for a very good deal. These are great earbuds, and they sync up Bluetooth. They have noise canceling. They're really awesome, But like the only problem is your Nintendo Switch at times, I've noticed that the Switch 2 will actively fight for custody over who gets to sync those. So if I want to listen to something on my phone while I'm gaming, or I just want audio from one source and not the other, the Nintendo Switch is constantly like trying to sync up to your headset. Even if you go into your Switch settings and say, "Hey, disconnect from this thing," it'll automatically sync to it like 5 seconds later. So I don't want to have a custody battle with my earbuds. So that's why we're here. And I do have other, wired earbuds, but I was like, you know what? A Nintendo Switch pair with an actual wireless mic in them sounds like a really good deal to me. So this says 8mm dynamic speaker drivers, 3 swappable tips. That way you can, get to where they fit snugly in your ear and don't fall out. Inline mic with a mic mute switch, which is very handy because you might have conversations or you might have moments where you don't want to be talking in game. And then, of course, you have a drawstring storage bag. And, of course, this is made by the folks over at Power A in collaboration with Nintendo. So, yeah, very nice little drawstring bag with a Nintendo Switch 2 tag on there. That's pretty neat. And it looks like everything we need is going to be in the bag. So, yeah, you got a little drawstring thing there. And I can assess the quality of these really quickly while we're at it. But, yeah, it looks like we got a bag there. A little plastic bag with all the attachments. And see, you could very easily just take your earbuds with you. And that's why I think I was like, you know what? A wired pair doesn't sound half bad. And if your Switch is, undocked and you're taking it portably with you, it's not bad to have a pair of earbuds here. I'm going to actually switch over to the big screen so you guys can see these. And they have the Nintendo Switch 2. I could probably better show you under the other camera, but yeah. If branding matters to you, you can obviously do that. We got a little twist tie here, which I love to keep these twist ties so that you can keep your cables nice and neatly rolled and managed. So it does have a little L shape there on the end, which is going to be perfect. And I'm going to actually take my Nintendo Switch and plug it in and do a quick sound test and just let you guys know what I think of it. And one of the cool things about the Switch 2 is that you have the headphone port on the top, you have a USB-C on the top for like charging controllers or plugging in whatever you need to plug in. And then, of course, you've got another one on the bottom for charging and docking. Oh, yeah. This is absolutely great. Yeah, and I only have the volume like 80, 90%, something like that. Even just tabbing through the menus, not bad at all. I'm just going to listen to Monster Hunter Rise's opening theme. We'll have an idea of like how good the sound quality is. $25, I'm not expecting too much, but, relatively nice looking pair here. They got a little bit of branding on them, which is pretty neat. Yeah, it sounds pretty good so far. And honestly, the default size is good for me. Feels kind of like a medium fit. But yeah, if you wanted it to expand further, you can definitely do that. And then, of course, we've got our volume buttons. And we've got a little mute switch as well. Very cool. And let me see. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Solid. So what you could do is drop your Switch 2 in there. And you've got your earbuds. Nice and neat. And roll up your cable. Stuff them in the bag. You've got all your power cables, which in the Switch 1 case, you know, they're sort of however you roll them and stuff them into the side compartments. Here you have these like little cases to keep them nice and organized. And so say you needed like an extra USB-C cable to charge your controller, you could very easily stuff one in there. And then of course you also have both of those game key cart cases, which let me actually crack one of those open, because like I said, I already have these like slightly bigger ones, which I could definitely find spots. Yeah, I could actually put it right there and close the top, no problem. So yeah, this is already perfect for me. But yeah, for you guys, if you have like some of these like slimmer cases here, let's take a look at what this has. Probably about 4. Yeah, it's got room for 4, and then of course it has that handy little SD card case, which it looks like it'll fit. It looks like it'll just fit 1 in there. 1 little SD card. So that's not bad at all. That's, and you know, that's like 8 games. But I mean, honestly, you can find room in here, and of course I'd highly recommend you have a screen protector, or there's also some room here where you could put like some plush lining or something, you know, if you, or something sort of spongy in there if you wanted to. And I don't know where, oh, there it is. Already losing stuff, day 1. Also got some Spider-Man Magic cards. I got about 4 of those booster packs. And once again, you have your cleaning cloth to keep everything nice and in good condition. So let's close it and let's see if we can seal it up with everything in it. Oh, that's perfect, yeah. And we're not even stretching any of the lining or anything. It's a relatively thick case, so it's definitely good to stand some hard knocks. I wouldn't recommend dropping your Switch or anything you put in there, but I think it's going to stand up pretty well. And so durability, quality, the ability to actually store everything that I would take with me, and that's probably including my NES Joy-Cons, which I can still sync those up to the Nintendo Switch 2 if I would like to. But I'm kind of stuck with, I have to charge those on the Switch 1 because they have those little sliders that dock into the side. I'm kind of hoping at some point maybe the Switch 2 will have some sort of remedy for that, or maybe they'll come up with their newer versions that would work in that situation. But yeah, this has been a review. We've checked out the earbuds. We've checked out this fantastic traveler case, which I think has a lot of value, and it's going to get a lot of use, and it's going to protect my console and the dock. It's the only unfortunate thing is that you would have to have a separate case if you're just taking your Switch out without a charger, you know, without extra controllers or docks. You know, if you just know you're going to hop on the subway or a bus or whatever, you know, then you would also probably enjoy a case like this one, like the Mario Kart World one that I showed you earlier, which also, you know, has plenty of room for keycard cases, you know, for your Joy-Cons and all that stuff. This has been a fantastic thing. But let me know if you enjoyed the video, if you found any of this valuable, if you made any purchasing decisions through this video. Let me know. Also, in the links in the description down below, you can check out my reviews for the Gulikit King Kong Pro 2 and the 8-bit Do Ultimate Bluetooth wireless controller. I believe that's all we have for today. So until next time, take care, be safe, and have a good one. Bye.